Tom Williams.
First thing is, what do you want from the neighborhood councils? Because I was under the impression that you needed assistance in setting it up and such like that. Do you need flyers? Are you going to have flyers for other than these specific hills? Are all of the slides?
Just I mean, should I respond or not?
Well, actually, he has 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, so let him finish his comments first, please.
Okay, I hope that all of the slides that have been presented here are available on a website, because slides 12, 13, and 14 appear to be new slides compared to the rest. There was also a matter that you referred in the slides to the community liaison councils. Are they involved in any of this right now? Because I was a member of one for Sereno, and I haven't heard anything. Not even the CCC. So, or CLC. So I'm quite concerned about it. Now, regarding the resolution by the City of Los Angeles, I made public comment in the City Council yesterday that the LADOT has not supported what the City Council had passed as a resolution. You still show on these and those slides construction of the portal system north of Valley Boulevard. That is in El Sereno Neighborhood Council area. So we're quite concerned that there is creep north of Valley Boulevard, which affects the entire design. So we're looking at right now, hey, 300 to 400 feet of tunnel access shaft plus a double deck cut and cover system, which will be roughly 250 feet across, 200 feet deep, and maybe 800 to 1,000 feet long in El Sereno. So I'm like, you know, I guess we don't have to do anything, and they will do everything. So I would recommend that it just be flyers for the board, because there's no action that the neighborhood council has to take in regard to the proposed sessions here in El Sereno, or LA32 neighborhood council area.
If I can just, can I? I'm sorry, I don't know the protocol.
Okay, let's do this here. We will go through the public comments, and then if the board has questions, then we'll go back and bring it in there.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you. I didn't know.
next speaker will be Joe Connell.
Thank you, board members, for allowing me to speak. I'd like to comment on the presentation here. In the TAC meeting that I attended on February, none of the alternatives were discussed. They went straight to tunnel. They had CH2M Hill talking tunnel, talking public partnerships, talking toll. Now, at every other open house, all we had was PR people. The technical people were not allowed to answer any valid questions put forth by Mr. Williams, by Bel Marquez. So basically, here we have a renewed effort to try to beat Mayor Garcetti's appointment of four votes on the Metro Board that side with no 710. There will be, little by little, we are lobbying more council members that will be no against this tunnel. Once we have 7 votes, we will kill this tunnel. And I am documenting every single word that Metro is putting out there, because when the lawsuit comes, and believe me, the lawsuit will come, we will have everything documented, every word documented, so the judge can see the non-compliance, the non-answers, and every single attempt to get this tunnel through without the proper input. The SR710, the Facebook SR710 study group was notorious for taking comments out. We had screen dumps of comments submitted, and the next day, comments are gone. So we have deception, questionable actions on the part of the study group. Okay? So all I can say is vote against anything Metro proposes coming into El Sereno, because they cannot be trusted to tell the truth, they cannot be trusted to be honest, and they cannot be trusted to come back with a response on their accountability to the public for millions of dollars and measure our money. Okay? Harry Baldwin, 710 Coalition, fake front group. He works out of a mailbox. He claims to have millions. Millions don't fit in a mailbox nor in his pocket. Thank you very much.
Xavier, just for the sake of clarification, you wrote agenda item safety.
Yeah, I just wanted to see about several different things, but unless there's somebody here that's technically can answer a bunch of technical questions about if it's ran through either way, many safety questions about any type of tunneling.
Well, what we can do here, I was looking for a specific agenda item on your comments. Would you like to speak on the general public comment later on the agenda?
Yeah, sure.
Or would you like to speak on this number now?
No, I think I'll probably drop it
Okay,
at this
so,
point in time. Yeah.
so
Maybe
right
another
now
meeting.
you're deferring your route to speak up. Okay, I guess we could open up or get some questions from board.
I need to know how much outreach have you received? Don't get the feedback we're getting from the community is obviously going to be impacted because of the Senate and pass it on. Staff, do you have any questions for us?
I want to go back to Tom Wayne's comment about the role of the neighborhood councils and the decision-making process. Vis-a-vis that you have this meeting coming up in July, first of all, I guess it's a two-part question. Is NTA or Metro going to incorporate resolutions from neighborhood councils into the decision-making process involving the various choices here? And second, if that is part of the process, would it be in terms of the outreach for that meeting, would it be proper to do a joint Metro and LA32 meeting in terms of joint collaboration, or would you prefer, since you already have the date and everything set up, to go solo in terms of that? So I guess my first comment is, one of the things you alluded to on the slide is outreaching to the community liaison groups, okay, or we'll call them neighborhood councils. But my point is here is at the end of the day, once you're getting ready to go back and make a decision, are the neighborhood councils going to have an inclusive role in making a resolution choice, a formal recommendation that will be incorporated into the record regarding the decision-making process? Why don't you for an MTA or any more?
I think that there's an opportunity for the neighborhood council to take position at the release of the draft DIR when all the information will be disclosed as to impacts, benefits, how, all the myriad of different issues that are discussed in the draft document. And when the board has hearings, at that point it would make sense for the neighborhood councils to testify and share your position on the study and the alternatives, and share your concerns or support for this draft study.
And you can just, I forget your name again.
My name is Lillian DeLosa, and I'm doing outreach for the SR 710 on behalf of Metro.
Okay.
Let me just add a little bit to that, because when the draft DIR comes out, what it does is there'll be a notice of availability in terms of the technical process, saying that the draft is now available for review and comment. And that's part of what's prescribed, what the law prescribes that we do. We're following the California Environmental Quality Act and the National Environmental Protection Act that tells you exactly where the comment period is. So what happens when the notice of availability comes out and the draft environmental impact report is available. Along with that is that there's an official public comment period. So that means that the comments that are made during that time, are part of the public record for that project. So that's why
And they
Bill
must
is
be,
saying.
yeah, they will be responded to, or they must be responded to in the final environmental decision.
So right now, we're here to provide information. The community meetings that we're having at the midway point before the public comment is for you to go and to ask the questions about fire and town safety, as this gentleman was saying. Ask any of the questions and ask what the process is to identify these and to research them so that you know for the public record.
And I would also share that maybe, I know that we, in terms of outreach and questions that we're getting, I think there is some frustration from the community because they have questions that are very technical in nature. And right now, we do not have answers because the analysis is being prepared. We don't have the answers to the air quality impacts or the traffic impacts because it's a process that takes time. Until we have that draft document prepared is when all that information is available. So I know that there's a lot of questions that are being asked that we'll probably be asking them tonight that we do not have answers for.
George, Marvin?
Yeah, regarding the date of the EAR draft,
Yes.
do you have a
Oh,
date when
the
that's
actual
available?
date, that's why I went back to this. This is the study, the environmental study process that we're following. As you can see, we are here. So here it says, it's hard to read maybe, it says draft environmental impact / report dash environmental impact statement. It's both the National Environmental Policy Act has a specific document, and then CEQA has another document. That's released, and it'll be in spring 2014. And again, there'll be a public comment period as part of this. So here we are, really having informational sessions so that you know what's going on and how these are all being attacked, all these attacked being researched and examined and put out there. This shows sort of a triangle, upside down triangle. What would be more accurate would be an onion, because it's an iterative process and you're unpeeling an onion layer by layer, and that's really what's occurring. It's an iterative process. So when we get to the inside of the onion, then we will be able to provide some information, and the preferred alternative is then selected by the decision makers. But at that point, they'll have all the information that's been public as well for them to make a decision on what they'd like to do.
Now, I have one more question. So for the meeting scheduled for July, are there going to be any technical people to respond to comments? As far as one of the questions I have is just, I need to know what the right-of-way is for each alternative. And that should already be available now. So I think residents need to know what the impact of each alternative is as far as right-of-way. So.
Yes, there will be technical staff members there. And to the extent that they can answer that question in terms of what they know now, they should be able to provide that for each of the alternatives.
Okay, I just heard about the EIR being presented in for the 7th, right? The EIR being presented next year. The EIR will be out next year.
It'll be the draft EIR.
But how do we get our comments or our concerns to the study people?
You come to the community meeting and talk to them. Believe me, every time, let's talk about our outreach process. Every time we go out and talk to groups like we are now, we compile a list of questions and comments. We look at them, the technical team looks at them, and they have helped really lead to some of the refinements.
Because I have spoken to the LA32NC before about the Arroyo Castilla. That's a perennial stream that still runs down 710. It's a historic stream from Sereno because it's important in the development of the community. But I've never heard anything about it being preserved or how the freeway is going to take care of that stream so it's not buried or or just ruined, because right now it still flows and still an open and the stream down the Castilla area, and you want to see it hopefully restored, if possible even more throughout Sereno. But it seems like this will just pretty much perennial stream. It runs year round. It still, I mean, it runs right now. It's just running, and it's historic in the sense that it helped develop the community to what it is, because the land wasn't sold because they had water all year round. So
And it's near Cal State LA?
it runs right next, 710 freeway, Castle LA in the middle. You'll see it running. It's an open channel or a company channel still.
Right, it's the catch basin that's on the east side of the freeway right
Oh,
there.
okay.
Was that
Yes.
underneath the
Yeah,
freeway,
yeah.
the 10th?
I know what
Yeah,
you're talking about.
But,
For sure, that will be analyzed, and just as we talked about here, believe me, the comments and the questions that you're making are getting back to the technical.
And I want to ask, how do you get copies of these slides? How do you get copies of them? Who do I ask? Who do
You
I?
mean the PowerPoint? We'll give you a
Yeah.
copy.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'd be grateful
If
to
you want
have
a
it.
copy of this, we're happy. We're here for one reason only, to get the word out about what we're doing, to dispel misinformation, to make sure that people have the same level of information about what's going on. You talked about, I see, that is just a sampling, as you say, a sampling of environmental studies. The biological resources, the riparian environments, that means the river, where the river and old flows, all that's analyzed as part of the study. This study team is huge. They're scientists, most of the team is science-based, they're scientists. So,
And if I could just make one recommendation for these meetings, just to kind of give an overall general introduction to what an EIR is, and cover each subject, because most people are not really familiar with EIRs.
thank
So,
you.
I think if we approach it that way, people will be more familiar. Well, okay, then if we're talking specifically about a waterway, then it'll be discussing this section here of the report.
So maybe, as you say, changing our presentation, so it tells people, here's what an EIR is. It was enacted by President Nixon, God bless his heart, in 1970 to lay out a process that no projects will be built without community information, community input. And that's what we're doing. We're involved in that.
And the document is many studies put together,
Yes.
as I've said, as you see there, from traffic, from air quality, I mean, the arroyos, any water stream is looked at, analyzed. There's sections, it's a book, many books into one big book.
Yeah, I guess the issue is most residents are not familiar with the process and how long it takes, so they have a lot of questions, and they just immediately think it's never going to be addressed. But if you explain what the process is and the amount of detail that it takes to do, for example, just air quality, they'll be more understanding for patients. Yeah.
And maybe that would be a great informational session for the public,
Yeah.
describing exactly what, and you're talking to the people that can make that happen.
Yeah, real quick, it seems like what we have now is a two-step process here. We have your meeting coming up in July, right, your informational meeting to the community. I think one of the things that should be really clearly defined on the flyer, that this is really first informational, and then the community is going to have the follow-up chance to submit all their information for the draft EIR. I think actually it should be a responsibility of this board to set up maybe an exclusive meeting to make sure all that documentation that the community wants added to the EIR coming out of the LA32 jurisdiction, to make sure that we do that. I think Mr. Connell doing a great service tonight and documented this meeting on the video, and I would ask you too if you can put it up on YouTube so that we could incorporate that later on in the documentation process of this. Yeah. And also too, real quick, the follow-up meeting on EIR. So I think when we craft the flyer, community flyer, make sure it clearly states that this is informational, and then there'll be a follow-up process on an EIR process that's going to take place.
Yes.
I have one last comment. I didn't know you guys, and I met you, so I just wanted you guys to know that one thing I've always asked, and I never got an answer for, is if Murray Park, Alhambra, San Gabriel, San Marino want this 710, they've asked for it, they keep asking for it, why not build it over there? Why build it to somewhere where it does not want it? Why do you guys keep forcing it down the Sereno, South Pass, when you can just switch it over and move it over to those communities or cities next door, right next door, who do want it, and avoid all this mess, because they're out for it, they want it, they've been asking for it, but yet you guys want to bring it through here. And I don't get that. Why all these years of wasting all this time, not for no reason other than because you guys just wanted these two endpoints. It makes no sense. If they want it in Monterey Park, in Alhambra, San Marino, San Gabriel, put it over there. I mean, and then you're done with all this, you know, because I don't want it here in Sereno, because we don't need it here, we need it over there.
That was voted down 40 years ago.
But it makes no sense to still, you know? Makes no
Well,
sense.
there was an alternatives analysis report that came out last winter, and it had many different alternatives, many different routes. And as part of the screening, those were discarded because for whatever reason, if you want to look at the alternatives analysis report, it's online available. They just didn't score well based on.
Because they don't want it over there either, huh?
No, there was a lot of technical challenges. There was a lot of screening criteria that went into the effect, which isn't because, you know, they don't want it here, they don't want it there. There was a myriad of issues that the technical team members screened and scored, and they just did not score high for different options.
Are you able to share that data?
It's on the alternatives analysis report.
Yeah, Dr. Williams had a question.
Dr. Williams had a question about
Yes.
outreach.
You had your hand up, did you have a question? Yes, Dr. Williams had a question.
Dr. Williams had a question about
Yes.
outreach.
You had your hand up, did you have a question or comment?
Yeah, well, as part of the Transportation Subcommittee efforts, on the 13th of July, I'll hold a information for 710, either at the library or at Senior Citizen Center for 3 hours, from 2 to 5. I'll make the arrangements.
And the topic will be,
No, we don't want you,
oh,
because you don't have any new information. First off,
We don't have any information.
you
Do you
can't,
have information, Dr. Williams, that you share with us, or?
you don't give us anything. I know more about it than you guys do. Or at least I know more about it from the engineering side, technical side, goals and purposes and needs side than you guys do. And based upon the last series of alternative presentations, the community doesn't learn anything from you guys.
Just give me a minute. So that informational meeting on July 13th is for that meeting on the 13th is for the transportation, you said for the.
Transportation subcommittee meeting, yeah.
Yeah, just so that everybody knows.
Because I don't know what we're doing even here now, that we've spent almost an hour on something that we have no recommendation for action, because they're going to do it all themselves.
At least the chair was looking for that information. So, we're going to move on to more regional time.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And I'm sure we'll get probably.
we're happy to provide the presentation, by the way, for the neighborhood council.
And if you need more flyers, we will give you as many as you need.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other public comments for the presentation?
No, not on this one. We have, we go down the agenda, we go to, I have, we got 3 B's, go to item 3C, and we have a status update mobility element LA community plan. That's Tom Williams, if I could make you the report and a comment on that issue. Yeah. So in a sense, I think Tom's a speaker card and said you're making a report anyway, so.
Both at the same time. Has anyone ever heard of the mobility element?
Mobility elements.
Notice that in the 710, they didn't mention the fact that the mobility element or the transportation element of the LA City Community Plan was not referenced. And in fact, the mobility element from the planning department didn't even realize that the 710 would affect the Sereno. So, the mobility element discussions occurred last month. What happened was that it was a scoping meeting, and scoping comments were submitted regarding what should be in the EIR for the City of Los Angeles Community Plan Mobility Stroke Transportation element, but it's no longer transportation. Has anyone ever heard of LA2B? No. Outreach? Okay, LA2B was a process through the planning department, hopefully with a little bit of input from the LADOT, which tried to summarize as to where projects should be done within all of LA. Valley Boulevard was not included. Alhambra Avenue was not included. Huntington Drive was. Yay. Monterey Road was not included. Soto was. So I think there's a whole bunch of things that are going on. It's now into the preparation of the EIR for the mobility element of the Los Angeles City Plan. So that's a very important thing, because how does it work with 710? So that's pretty much it. I will try to circulate more about the mobility element and when the EIR comes out, because we'll have 30 to 45 days to review it, but it won't be for only a year. And it's going to come, interestingly, it will come from planning department, and LADOT apparently doesn't want to have anything to do with it. But that's what it is. So that's the update.
Thank you.
Okay.
No action is required.
Madam Chair, we have to